lot weirder? The fact we have a crying baby in here.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but what can we do about it?
Find her parents.
You want to find her parents?
Hey guys, I just wrote a new haiku. Bomb Squad Matinee. Our 9th episode is on Tokyo Godfathers. Hi, I'm Tim M. Sullivan, and with me I have...
Rein Conversey.
Ethan Hawker.
Hi, I'm Joshua, the Hanukkah Dreidel.
And we have a special guest, the reigning champ, coming in with 5 episodes of Bomb Squad Movie Night, 2 bonus casts, a vidcast, now on their Bomb Squad Matinee debut.
Angie Hachiman.
Yes!
Alright, and if you couldn't tell by my beautiful haiku, we are talking about the 2003 animated tragic comedy from Japan, Tokyo Godfathers. Some brief background on the movie. This, of course, is the 3rd of 4 feature films from the late, great Satoshi Kon. If you want to hear us talk more about him, you can check out our Perfect Blue episode of the Bomb Squad podcast, the series finale.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it's his 3rd movie, and it's inspired by Peter B. Kind's 1913 novel, The Three Godfathers. More specifically, it's inspired by John Ford's 1948 film adaptation. Basically, it's sort of a story that's allegorical of the Three Wise Men. So a classic Christmas tale for this end of December season. And while we're still in the spirit, let's talk about some of our favorite non-traditional Christmas movies as our warm-up. Now, just to give a little bit of ground rules, we're talking things that are thematically about Christmas, so no diehards, no lethal weapons. We're gonna start with Ethan.
This one was very difficult for me, just because I feel like a lot of my favorite Christmassy films are sort of very explicitly about Christmas. So I sort of an unconventional one, I suppose. My favorite, I guess, non-traditional Christmas film is Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which is an absolutely exceptional film featuring Ryuichi Sakamoto and David Bowie. Ryuichi Sakamoto being the famous film composer and member of Yellow Magic Orchestra, who we recently lost, along with David Bowie. Which, it's an odd pick. It's a very tropical film because it takes place in the Pacific Islands during the Second World War, and it's mostly tragic, at times quite like a bit of a hard watch, and it's ultimately about lots of homoerotic yearning between Sakamoto and Bowie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but there's something about Beat Takeshi at the very end saying "Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence," and Sakamoto's dreamy score that just make it feel extremely Christmassy. I don't know. This is one where it's just a movie that I've been thinking about like constantly since I saw it at the Webster film series earlier this year too. So it just kind of has been on my mind a lot on top of it. So that's for this point in time, this present place. That's going to be my favorite non-traditional sort of Christmas film, I think.
Hell yeah. Good pick. Alright. Rein.
Yeah, I was also struggling a bit with this question because it's like, I was trying to find the right balance between like being like not being an overly Christmas type movie like your Christmas Stories or your, honestly I feel like Tokyo Godfathers feels to me like a conventional feel closer to me to like the conventional end of the Christmas movie spectrum. If at the other end you got your diehards and stuff like that. I worry my pick might be a bit too far on the diehard spectrum, but I would go with Batman Returns as my pick.
Hell yeah.
It's got obviously, I guess if the movie's not everyone's cup of tea. I know it has like a lot of detractors, but I am a big fan of it. Might be my personal favorite Batman movie. Not the best one, but my personal favorite, potentially. Yeah, as far as being a Christmas movie, I mean, my argument mostly is just the aesthetics. I mean, you know, that classic Tim Burton style with the tinge of Christmas flair. It's great. Goes together so well. It's crazy he's never done it before or after. Like, never again. That's crazy how there's no other thing he's done that's like that. It's unfortunate. Other than that, I mean, it's a story about outsiders, freaks, weirdos who want to try and fit in, try and belong. I'm sure there's something there about family. I mean, Penguin has a family. He has like a family. They all get along and do stuff. I guess that's pretty Christmassy. That is my answer. It is my answer done.
Hell yeah. Good pick. I threw it on Christmas night. We were going back to the house that me and Cody were staying at to visit my family, and like they just had like Tubi on the TV, and I was like, "What's on Tubi? Batman Returns? Hell yeah, let's do it." So yeah, good pick. Austin.
So, you know, I went back and rewatched LA Confidential, and that movie's opening 15 minutes are set at Christmas time. Plus, it has a really beefy supporting role from the king of vaguely threatening Christmas videos, Mr. Kevin Spacey. But obviously, nobody wants their Christmas muddled by nasty stuff like police corruption and Kevin Spacey. This is a wholesome ep. And just like the many miracles that happen in Tokyo Godfathers, we've recently had a certified Christmas classic dropped into our laps from out of the sky. Most people might know it as the 70s-looking movie trailer that played before Oppenheimer. It's Alexander Payne's The Holdovers, which is only an unconventional pick because it's too new to have been, like, on cable TV yet. That's why it qualifies to me. So, no other movie in 2023 has affected me emotionally quite like The Holdovers did. It centers on one of those teachers. I think we all might have had one. That, like, old white guy teacher with the gray hair who looked real bug-eyed and goofy. The one who's stern as fuck about the class material and seems like he might not have a life outside of school. And this miserable teacher is stuck over Christmas break babysitting the older student who does get the best grades in this teacher's, like, notoriously hard class, but this particular boy gets the best grades because he's been held back a few years, and he has behavioral issues due to feeling abandoned by his very rich parents. It hits some, like, remarkably sensitive points, like a 4-quadrant tearjerker, but instead of containing, like, demographic groups, the 4 quadrants of the holdovers are stuff like family history of mental illness, failing to find love by the time you're really old, losing your son to a war, and the institutional cruelty of parents. For me personally, the part that made me feel the most was how it successfully humanized one of those weird teachers, those loud cartoon characters who, like, taught us history class. That at one point, they were young people just like us, and in a way that person's still hiding up there somewhere behind, like, a mountain of unmet expectations. It's a movie about sad people learning how to trust each other for the holidays. I cannot recommend it enough. Back to you, Tim.
Hell yeah. I really wanted to see that while I was in theaters, but I was not able to make it out. So I'm gonna have to check it out at some point. Is it on video yet?
Yeah, it's on VOD, and you are gonna love it!
Alright, I'll definitely have to check it out. Might be one of my early 2024 watches. Angie.
So I'll have to be honest, I haven't watched very many Christmas movies in general, let alone any, like, non-traditional Christmas movies. I feel like I'm as traditional as they get. Like, my favorite Christmas movies are any adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and then It's a Wonderful Life. So I'm, like, super basic. But I did, like, a couple years ago, I did watch the Netflix movie Claws. And I'll be honest, like, I watched that on an off time of the year, like, outside the holiday season, and I was actually kind of taken by surprise that it was tied into Christmas, despite it being called Claws, and I should have put 2 and 2 together, but I thought that was a pretty good animated movie, and it's not, like, you know, the lead, it kind of builds up to, like, the Christmas theme. You know, it kind of takes you by surprise a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really like Klaus. I watched that like right up when that particular Oscars was happening, because I was like, I want to watch all of the best animated feature noms, and like that was probably one of my favorites. I can't remember what all was nominated that year, but I remember quite liking that. The animation's very good, very solid storytelling.
It is a very good animated film.
Yeah, good picks all around. Yeah, for my pick, as some of y'all may know, I have become somewhat of a connoisseur of Christmas horror movies. So of course, my pick for this answer is going to be Feeders 2: Sleigh Bells. No, I'm kidding. That movie's dog shit. My pick for this one is a little French film from 1989 called 3615 Code Père Noël, known in the States as Dial Code Santa Claus, among various other names. It is the movie that inspired Home Alone, to the degree that there was a lawsuit that almost happened. Yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's fucking wild. Like, it's dark. It gets very dark. There's a dog that dies. It's upsetting. But like, this kid goes full Rambo on the guy that's attacking him. It's kind of incredible. He's also like the Chad to Kevin McAllister's Virgin. He's such, like, he's the best kid. He's so sweet and also just such a badass. Like, you can't not love him when you watch this movie. I'd recommend it. I believe it's still on Shudder. So if you have Shudder or AMC Plus, go check it out. It's a wild ride. And speaking of wild rides, let's talk about Tokyo Godfathers. We're gonna start with Rein. What's your thoughts on Tokyo Godfathers?
Yeah, this is the second movie of Kon's I've seen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The other one being Perfect Blue. Really gotta respect a director who can just like two complete like different tonal extremes. Deeply admire that. I really to an extent this was like a hard movie to try and think of stuff to say about, because it's just a great movie in such a simple way, in a way where it's just like, here's this I don't know, I'm trying to think how to I feel like it succeeds in a way that I feel like is very like self-evident just from watching it. Like, it's just like, it's a heartwarming story with likable characters. I don't know, it's hard for me to struggle to have too much to say. I think the one main thing I really wanted to mention about that I really admire is that it would focus on houseless people, homeless people as the protagonists. I really I struggle to think of any other stories, movies especially, that really have them as protagonists, that have them as heroes. There might be some, I don't know, the closest I can think of are like some movies where like maybe the protagonist is like helping raise a homeless person, like take care of a homeless person, but not one where they're the agency of being a protagonist. And I don't know, I think I think it's something that's very I think there is definitely something useful, something meaningful to having stories like this from that perspective. For an issue that really is not talked about enough, a class of people that really do not get are not treated well in any sense, obviously materially and also socially. So I admire that they're treated as like, full human beings, warts and all. That is like the really thing of note. The only other thing it's a really sweet, wholesome movie. Very funny. I think the only other thing of note I guess I would really have to say that's kind of neat is I was watching this with my girlfriend who can speak Spanish. So the whole like subplot with the family from Latin America, where you don't see the subtitles, at least the version I saw didn't have subtitles for them on Tubi.
Yeah, they don't translate it.
Yeah, so it was very funny, her being like, oh, this is what they're saying. I wish I would have like remembered what they were saying, So I could be like, oh, this is what was going on, but I forgot. So not really that much of a fun fact, but not even like coming with what they reported or reporting on what they said. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's probably might be my new favorite Christmas movie. It used to be A Christmas Story used to have that spot, but this might be my new favorite. Back to you, Tim.
Hell
Also,
yeah.
I'm sure we'll get more into the stuff with the it's how the film handles trans topics. So actually, I will save it for that. But also, I guess it is for I don't know much about, from what I understand, Japanese culture. Actually, I won't put my foot in my mouth, but from what I understand, I've did some research on like how the trans community feels about this movie, and from what I understand, pretty positive, very well liked. Blanking on the name of the character, but that is also
Hana.
Nice.
Hana.
And I'm sure we'll get into it more later. But yeah, movie great.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, for sure we're gonna have some things to say about the portrayal of Hana. I do, and I'm sure Ethan does as well. Yeah, it's sort of an interesting thing of like how it was handled in 2003 when they first made the movie, and then later when they started being able to dub it in other languages. But also the whole like Spanish subplot. Like I know, like I remember like basic like Spanish 2 from high school, so like I understood a little bit of like the very basic stuff that they were saying, but basically just when they were literally like "Quiere leche, sí? You want milk?" Yeah, she wants milk. That's about the peak of my Spanish. But Ethan, thoughts on the film?
Yeah, so as we come back to Kon after discussing Perfect Blue, this is an interesting one in that it's of his directorial output, probably the only like straightforward comedy, pretty much, that he ever made. Of course, he did contribute to other sort of comic works. As we all know, he did key animation on the much beloved OVA Detatoko Princess, an anime about an elf princess who loves pudding. She just loves the stuff. Specifically at episode 2. Also, he contributed
just
more
like
significantly. Exactly. Also, he more significantly contributed to Rojin Z in an artistic capacity, and the live-action film World Apartment Horror, which both of which were projects spearheaded by Katsuhiro Otomo. World Apartment Horror, significantly, just wanted to mention, was written by Otomo in part, but also Keiko Nobumoto, who was his co-writer on Tokyo Godfathers. And since Nobumoto did recently pass, unfortunately, I wanted to spotlight her because I think she brings a lot of the warmth to this film in general. Nobumoto being best known for writing Cowboy Bebop, being pretty much the series writer on that, Macross Plus, amongst many other incredible projects. She's a remarkable writer. The only project she was able to sort of helm by herself is Wolf's Rain. Not this rain, not the one on the show, the kind that comes from the sky. And she's a really remarkable writer. So I just wanted to get the Nobumoto shout out of the way too. I'm sure we'll be able to discuss more about her later. But on to my thoughts about Tokyo Godfathers and how it sort of congeals around those personalities. What's most striking about Tokyo Godfathers, when viewed in the context of the rest of Kon's filmography, is really how different it is from a lot of his work. It's a straightforward comedy drama, and it mostly lacks those dreamlike soft edges Kon draws between the real and surreal. There are certainly moments that feel very quote-unquote Kon, Yuki's dream depicting her stabbing her father, giving way to her new family, or the way Sachiko's breakdown is depicted, feeling very sort of Perfect Blue adjacent. But these are exceptions rather than the rule. But different doesn't equal bad. Instead, Kon emphasizes other elements to help better complement the narrative. Of particular note is the backgrounds. A lot of the press around this film emphasizes those as well. which create a realistic, grounded vision of a snow-covered Tokyo in wintertime. They aren't just like straightforward tracings, that sort of thing. There are elements of exaggerated lighting, impossible perspective, and hyperbolic set dressing, but they never shy away from the filth of the city. In particular, its sizable population of trash bags, often found in large piles throughout the cityscape, clogging alleyways or shuttered storefronts. I love the detailing on them too, like that weird semi-transparent layering. There's a bonus feature that shows that there's like 4 or 5 different like layers in Photoshop that they're using to detail these things, and they just look incredible. Absolutely some of the prettiest trash bags in film. While the film is, again, often, very detailed and very pretty, there's never an intention to conceal. Tokyo is messy, beautiful, highly imperfect, and Kon and the artists at Madhouse don't shy away from depicting it as such. If there is one notable element that lends Tokyo Godfathers a certain dreamlike or even uncanny quality, it's the juxtaposition of the highly expressive, exaggerated character animation with those realistic backgrounds. While extensive reference footage was shot for Tokyo Godfathers, oftentimes it's clearly used very liberally, as the film features looser animation than that seen in Kon's other films, with instances of smearing and characters' body parts dragging in comic fashion seeing far more use. Most significant is just how over-the-top all the characters' expressions are, an element which is noticeable in the film's storyboards, highly detailed storyboards by Kon himself, but it's pushed much further by the key animation. The big standouts are probably Hana's lengthy lambasting of Jin in the hospital hallway, which was animated by the incredible Shinji Otsuka, and Shinji Hashimoto's confrontation of Yasuo in his apartment, which is super expressive. Honestly, it's a weird pull, but it kind of reminds me of We're the Kids animation, if you're familiar with him, just the way the eyes are drawn, those expressions. But yeah, no, it's beautiful. Really incredible. I think that just on an aesthetic level, I think that's part of why I appreciate this so well. But I think the trio of misfits are also just remarkable. I'm going to save some of this for general discussion because I have a lot of notes here, and I'm realizing I'm going on for way too long. But they're a wonderful cast of characters, and I think part of it is how they're animated. But there's just a lot of different levels to their appreciation. I think again, Hana definitely kind of steals the show. But Yuki and Jin are both, wonderful characters in their own right. So I'll leave some space for someone else to speak.
Hell yeah, all good stuff. Angie, thoughts on the film?
Well, kind of, I don't know if I'm going to say it too much different, but I agree that this is definitely a unique, movie for Kon. This is definitely, super different because I'm so used to going into his stuff being, deeply, psychological and things, and this is a little bit more kind of goofy. But it's got a little bit of everything. You got the comedy, the drama, and then you do kind of get some more of the human, sort of a little bit of the human drama, especially with Sachiko. When they build up to the end and you find out that she's kind of dealing with the grief after having a miscarriage, and that's kind of a really heavy topic. I also really enjoy the expressive animation, something about the fluidity of the exaggerated expressions and body movements is really fun to watch. And I kind of enjoyed too how the narrative is very how it flows. It's actually kind of interesting that I believe it starts on Christmas and then it ends on New Year's, if I'm understanding correctly. But it's so the way it moves, it almost feels like it's a single night, because every major event happens at night until you get to the end and then the sun rises, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Nice. Good takes. All right, Austin.
The seriously unexpected moment of research was finding out that this charming little anime, as Tim stated in the beginning, that makes heroes out of the homeless. It features pretty solid representation of a trans woman by 2003 standards. It's a remake of a remake of a remake of an adaptation of a novelette from 1913. I never would have guessed this was based off of a John Ford film starring John Wayne. I mean, what a novel idea. A modern-day Three Wise Men story, but it's about a few homeless people finding a baby. Talk about spinning hay into gold. So there's this exercise in film circles, I'm sure all of you have heard of it, where you oversimplify a movie and then try to sum up its plot in one sentence. Here are some examples that I've stolen. Two 90-year-old men fight when one of them can't remember who he is. That's Captain America, Civil War. Or is it Captain America, the Winter Soldier? A teenager's body starts going through changes, then he starts taking selfies for money. That's Spider-Man 1. Recently, I was having a really great time on the drive home from Wonka, thinking, holy shit, I just saw a movie about a magical chocolatier who battles against police corruption. And today's movie, Tokyo Godfathers, could also be described in some charming ways. This is a movie about a magical baby who has the Uno reverse card. In normal Christmas, you return baby to its family. In Tokyo Godfathers Christmas, baby returns family to you. In Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert De Niro tells Leonardo DiCaprio that miracles just don't happen anymore. In Jordan Peele's Nope, Daniel Kaluuya asks what you're supposed to call a miracle when it's bad. In Tokyo Godfathers, Satoshi Kon cranks up the Insane Clown Posse track and says, I've seen miracles in every way, and I see miracles every day. And thanks to the otherwise kind of oppressive circumstances, this combo of unbelievable coincidences is met by the viewer with astonishment, more so than like the usual suspicion. At a super tight 92 minutes, Tokyo Godfathers is packed full of really strange twists, some remarkable character keyframes from, as Ethan stated, former Ghibli dude Shinji Otsuka, and Studio Madhouse's trademark best in the business animation, now benefiting from 21st century digital tools. Much easier to make hundreds of semi-transparent trash bags when you finally have an opacity slider. It was such a bold choice to use animation, the medium where you could do almost anything, to depict the grimy parts of Tokyo that people almost never think about. The world truly did not deserve Satoshi Kon. And all that stated, in all likelihood, I still do not think that this particular baby is King of the Jews. It just seems unlikely. That's all. Back to you, Tim.
Fair. Yeah, all good takes all around. Kind of like what Rein was saying. I think I would call this maybe my favorite Christmas movie. It's just such a great, heartwarming, very like incredible film. Like, my ranking of Satoshi Kon's films has changed a lot. It's ever changing. They're all so good. They're all neck and neck. And for a long time, I had this one like at the bottom. But then in recent years, as I've watched it again and again, it's like gone up to like I think I have it right under Perfect Blue, which is my favorite. It's such a good time. It's this perfect blend of character work, drama, humor. There's so much to love about it. And kind of what Austin was talking about with the way that it uses animation. Like one of the featurettes that I was watching had Kon kind of talking about how people asked him, why'd you do this as an animation? You could have just done this in live action. And what I kind of realized is I feel like this movie is like the exact opposite of the recent live action Disney remakes, where they're using photorealism to depict something fantastical, where this is taking a very grounded idea and making it much more like cartoony and expressive, which I kind of love that. I love how it does that. It contrasts the hyper-realistic backgrounds with this over-the-top expression from its characters. It's very charming. Absolutely love that. Talked a little bit about the character of Hana, and kind of alluded to, in the original Japanese version, that character is played by a man. But in the G-Kids dub from 2020, she's played by a trans actress named Shakina Nafak. She does a great job in the dub. She brings this new energy to the character that I think a lot of people love. And, you know, she was kind of talking about her interpretation of the story, in that, like, these are characters that many people would kind of see as degenerates, but in this story they're finding that they are worthy of God's love, which I think is an interesting take. Yeah, there's a lot to love about the movie. I think I'll have a little bit more to say in general discussion, so we're just going to take a quick ad break and we'll be right back. Welcome back from the ads for another ad. MoviePalette.com. It's a website that has little palettes containing colors from each frame of a movie, demonstrating their dominant colors. I got one up there from the film Mandy. You can get one of any movie you want to get from. You could do Tokyo Godfathers. You could do any of Satoshi Kon's other movies. You could do Three Men and a Baby. Even if they don't have the movie you want, you can pay a little bit extra, and they can have it custom made. Just go to MoviePalette.com. Use the code SQUAD15 to get 15% off your order, and give us a little bit of affiliate change. You know, but benefits everybody. All right. Back to the show. We're gonna get into general discussion. I want to start with one that I think Austin will appreciate. So when they were composing the music for this film, they got a band called Moonriders, and for the end credit song, Satoshi Kon said he wanted to do a rendition of Beethoven's Ninth. And rather than just going straight from Beethoven's original composition, he decided to listen to the Clockwork Orange version. Let's go.
Wendy Carlos! How do you possibly pack more joy into Ode to Joy? The answer is more trans women. That's always how we respond. God. Yeah, that tickled me to know that this film has a Kubrick connection, besides that it's also a Christmas movie. Which, by the way, Eyes Wide Shut, definitely the best Christmas movie to watch with your parents. Yeah.
There we go.
I was tickled pink. Also, yeah, he got that band back together from what I saw in the DVD bonus features. Like, they weren't doing shit, and then he just lassoed them all together to do the weird end credit song to this. When Sid was watching this movie and it ended, and the fucking Eiffel Tower started doing the Trumpet Boy Photoshop meme shit, he was just like, come on! Like, I don't know if it worked for him, boss.
It's so good, though.
It's delightful, just like the rest of the
puppet tool. Going back to Shakina Nafak, I think it is worth noting too, this is her first vocal performance, is my understanding, and she knocks it out of the park. She does really incredible work. I'm gonna throw a spicy take in here. I think that definitively the English dub is better than the Japanese version. Simply because I think I don't really love the way Umegaki plays Hana. I mean, I know it's still 2003, but he plays kind of like anime camp gay. Like, he's also not a voice actor, too, by and large. And I don't... his performance is fine. It's okay. If anything, it's more a testament to the sheer quality of the English voice talent in general, who I think are all really exceptional. Throughout. I think it works a lot better. Also, shout-outs to all of the bonus features in the original Japanese on the G-Kids release. Extremely hard to watch, because they constantly misgender Hana. Great. Love it. But I do think that that performance is really exceptional, and all the performances in general are really good. It's a far cry from the old produced for the international dub, like weird Animax dub that you used to find on like torrents and that sort of thing, which is the first dub I watched. It's not good.
Y'all know Kon's Tome, right? The blog.
You mentioned that, yeah.
I did.
On Perfect Blue.
Okay.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that several years ago.
I went back to Kon's Tome because, and turns out, I think Tokyo Godfathers is the movie that Satoshi Kon wrote the least blogs about, because Paranoia Agent came in and fucking sucker punched him right around the time that this was getting made. So he had to like blog about it later. And there is a point like where it's like a page of character descriptions and like the original artwork for them. And the one about Hana is just go read it. Just go read it. It's gonna hit you like a wet fish. It sucks. Sorry.
No, I feel like the good in Hana again is maybe Nobumoto more than it is Kon, because I feel like Nobumoto is a bit more literate in that sort of thing. Broadly speaking, and again, I feel like Nafak's performance again because he doesn't mention it a lot in the bonus features. Yes, maybe read up on those articles. I remember I was doing some research on Tokyo Godfathers a couple years ago for a thing, and woof, not great. But even on the bonus features, he's like, yeah, all these performances were perfect, and I'm like, even Umagaki's? No, this man who looks like John Leguizamo in The Pest is not a good fit for this trans woman. Please stop. But another thing, an interesting thing to note about Kon's relationship with Hana is, for the reference footage for this film, he portrays Hana because Satoshi Kon is quite tall for a Japanese man. He was he's quite short now, but sorry, that's an inelegant way of phrasing that. That was not intentional. Satoshi Kon was 5'11".
He's now -6 feet.
Oh, yeah. Got him. This is what you get for being transphobic in 2003.
How dare you? Another thing about that reference footage is Jin or Gin. How do we fucking say that person's name?
Gin, I believe.
Gin is played by the producer Satoki Toyoda, but Miyuki is played by Satoshi Kon's wife Kyoko. So the cosplay in the park was real fun that day. And you can find this footage. I think it's just scraped from the original like DVD Blu-ray featurette thing. But Satoshi Kon, I wonder if he invented the walk. Hana has a specific way that she runs, and you can see in the footage Satoshi Kon is running in that same stupid way. So now I wonder, like, which one's the chicken and which one's the egg? You know what I mean?
So Satoshi Kon is doing that gay walk that you were talking about on that Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, Richard Williams is his gay walk. Why did I think that person was gay? I just saw them from over the bushes, and I raced out, and I had to look at their gay walk. That little fruit. Richard Williams, R.I.P. Another master of animation that we've lost, who had just had some extremely weird ideas about the LGBTQ community. God bless him.
You did mention the actress who played Miyuki in the Japanese. One of the features, she was kind of talking about how, like, she wanted to give a very nuanced performance to that last line where she says Oto-san, or father. Like, she wanted to do it in such a way that it's not too, like, positive, like, make you think, oh, she's going back to her dad, but not too, like, surprised of, oh, she's gonna stay with her found family. Wanted to find some kind of nuanced balance in the middle where it's still open to interpretation, which I think that's a very interesting way to go about your performances. Like, leave them thinking. I like that.
It's like that recently mentioned moment in Halloween where Donald Pleasance at the end like had to figure out how to do the reaction to Michael Myers like disappearing at the end, and there were two ways to play it, kind of thing. It is interesting that you can like just make your actor do something where your ending goes from being kind of clear cut to being the spinning top in Inception. I wonder if after you've gone through the trouble of making a film, because I always hated ambiguous endings to films. I still kind of do. Like 99% of them, I don't like them. But I wonder if you're, big person in charge, I made a movie, if there's, like, some, like, kind of thing tempting you, like, oh, an ambiguous ending would be so cool. I could win the Palme d'Or. The French would like me. Like, what the fuck is the compulsion there? Just let her go home. God damn.
I
feel like if
keeping it open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this one, I think that the movie is so like jam-packed with content that it's like it feels a bit more natural that it's just like running from situation to situation to situation. I'm always astonished that this movie is just an hour and a half, because it feels longer, but in like a complimentary way. Because I just remember there's so much that happens in it. It's a very, very dense film. So the fact that it just stops there, it's like, okay, this is a good resting point at this point. Like we have a moment to breathe. It's an earned, like, and it's ambiguous in a positive way. Like everything leading up to this indicates that things will go well, but also, yeah, I get it. It does seem a bit, I don't know, maybe not the perfect fit for this movie, which wears its heart on its sleeve throughout much of its runtime.
Yeah, that was something I was thinking of too. On this watch was just like how much you get in just 90 minutes. It's kind of incredible. Just you gotta pace it right. You gotta pace it right. You can do a lot in 90 minutes.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they got distracted by the Angel Tower starting to dance outside of the window. Like, what's going on out there? Who's using the puppet tool? Stop! Get that shit out of here!
It is a very the plot is very stuffed. A lot of the occurrences are very wacky, but in a very, for the tone it's going for, and I don't know, it has enough whimsy that I don't know, I feel like people who care a lot about plot holes should have even less reason to like be nitpicky about it.
Oh my god, CinemaSins would go to town on this film. That's how their soul finally gets condemned to hell, the CinemaSins person. It's just ripping into Tokyo Godfathers. What is it? The animation in this was allowed to deform pretty drastically. That was one thing that was also made kind of like evident from the bonus features, was animators were allowed to go ham and make people kind of rubbery. So you get like a little bit more personalities from the animators coming out and how they did like keyframes. And sometimes animators did too many keyframes. One kind of weird animation note is that for the sequence where Hana is screaming at Jin in the hospital, his name wrong, Shinji Atsuka drew all 280 key and in-between frames by himself. So the whole animation was just kind of locked in that way. Like, if you wanted to make edits, you couldn't just fuck around in the in-betweens like you normally would. You'd have to edit, like, all 280 of the fucking frames this person drew. So, yeah, the animation's really high quality in that moment. Sort of like that one malicious babysitter in The Simpsons. But it did make editing that cut a particular pain in the dick. They've got, like, what, animatics, pencil tests, whatever the fuck those are called on the bonus features. That's just, you can tell somebody, like, I don't know, like, was like, I'm gonna stay up all night and just do this. And then somebody, like, I don't know, their spouse came back in the morning and they were at the desk still. Imagine. Yeah. Drawing all the in-between frames.
Horrifying.
Yeah, I wanted to comment too on Otsuka, because you mentioned, former Ghibli animator, current, he just worked on The Boy and the Heron, a bunch of these guys. There's a lot of crossover between animators that worked on Tokyo Godfathers and The Boy and the Heron. There's a lot of, Ghibli talent, obviously, because they're sort of the cream of that crop. It's also worth noting that Shinji Otsuka worked on other classics. Like, he did a lot of really exceptional work on FLCL, Fooly Cooly, and who can forget the fourth entry in the Cream Lemon series, Pop Chaser.
No.
Why?
The one Cream Lemon that it's acceptable to like, because it's it's not lolicon, not as weird lolicon stuff as the other ones. Hideaki Anno worked on it, and he's the only one who had the balls to not be credited under a pseudonym. It just says Hideaki Anno in the credits. And a bunch of the guys who made Robot Carnival. Too many people worked on it. We can't cancel them all. I'm sorry, gang. The guy who worked on Cream Lemon Part 4 animated some of your favorite sequences in your favorite Studio Ghibli films. Kiki's Delivery Service was also the horny science fiction OVA guy.
Wow.
A bunch of the horny science fiction OVA guys, actually.
Oh my god, this is like Japan's Polanski petition. How could this happen?
No.
can't,
Cream Lemon petition.
Can't get them all. What was it? Another little technical detail. Did you guys see how they did snow for this movie? It was mentioned in the bonus features.
Yeah, they like drew it on like 6 different layers or some shit.
I interpreted it, they were painting like white paint on top of the white paper. Because normally you could just leave the white paper because it's already white, but they were like, no, we need depth. And so they just fucking slung that shit down, which I guess is going the extra mile in anime land. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot to give it an extra dimensionality. Again, like realism and like detail, because a big thing is a lot of backgrounds can be like very beautiful and very vividly realized, but there's usually an instinct by a lot of animators to indulge in impressionism, if only for the sake of not doing quite as much of that work. But here it's just layers on layers on layers, and the result is that they can do a lot of cool stuff with timing, movement on those background layers, sort of like a traditional multi-plane effect, using digital elements as best as they can. This is a film that, like, the transition to digital animation, which is normally extremely noticeable in a lot of works, is not super apparent here at all. The color palette is varied and not super bland. There's still a lot of texture in the image that you get out of this one, which very good and cool. Not something you see a ton of in the early digital era, even in some of those like big budget movie films.
Yeah, you know what? I actually, like, it's hard to believe that it came out in 2003 because it almost looks older than it actually is, like Ethan was saying.
Yeah, it has like a late 90s cell quality to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I believe this was maybe the first wholly digital feature. I feel like Millennium Actress, it just might be tricking my eye, because that movie looks also extremely good.
Millennium Actress was a digital animation. There's like a linked Japanese interview with some dude, who's probably an important dude. But he was talking about how Millennium Actress was a cell animation and this was a digital animation, and it's implied by the sort of footnote on Wikipedia and his poorly auto-translated words that this might have been when the switch flipped. Maybe. But I at least know Millennium Actress Cell, Tokyo Godfathers started using digital tools, or was a digital pipeline. Shoot me if I'm wrong, because obviously none of this is real research, it's internet research. But if I had to put a bet in from what I've read, that's how it is.
At the very least, yeah, the background art in Millennium Actress seems very clearly hand illustrated and scanned. I mean, a lot of the line art was, sort of the Xerox, but we could do it with a computer now. No, the transition is mostly really seamless, and it seems like they're just using the tool set to their benefit, which that's good. Love to see that. Except for I think the only time I ever kind of noticed CG assets was that old man's collection of fidget spinners.
The windmills?
That he has. Yeah, I know they're windmills.
Oh.
His little pinwheels. But all I could think of was, man, those kind of look like fidget spinners, which is itself kind of a dated reference at this point, but whatever. Those were like the only sort of really outstanding, like this thing was made in a computer box thing that I noticed, at least on this watch through.
One shot that had a detail that I didn't notice until watching the bonus features today. The shot where it's the wide of Gin getting the crap beaten out of him by those assholes. The apartment lights above him are a health bar. There is fucking health bar. It's a fighting game screen. I never noticed that, and I'm gonna notice that every time now. I fucking love that.
I didn't realize that. I noticed
Edgar
the one
Wright.
one light blinking, but I didn't make the connection that it was a health bar. I'll have to keep that in mind next time I watch it.
Okay, so a lot of fuss is made about how Kon was not an anime guy. However, my counterpoint to this is this movie, towards the start, has a Gundam reference. Because when Gin hits Miyuki, she says, "Not even my father has ever hit me," which is a reference to when Bright slaps Amuro in Mobile Suit Gundam. Like the syntax, the phrasing of it is identical, which is very funny.
Or maybe it's based on his real life. Actually, that's not funny.
No.
Oh, Rein. I don't know.
Maybe he was
Satoshi
too
Kon
busy
was
dealing
tall
with
enough, he could
real life
Kon.
problems to think about robots.
Maybe Satoshi Kon was Amuro Ray.
Yeah. Maybe. Kon's counterattack.
I need to throw Rein this bone because, as you can tell from my entire answer to question 2, I had infinite trouble trying to come up with shit to say about this movie. And I was trying to figure out why. Like, I was wondering if anybody could come up with a guess as to why this one's so fucking hard to talk about. Because I usually can hide somewhat in the production elements, but there's not that much of that. There's frighteningly little of that stuff. Like, I checked Japanese Wikipedia article, and it was just a Japanese version of the English Wikipedia article. I was fucked. And I don't know why, but when trying to come up with anything profound to say about Tokyo Godfathers, behind kind of surface level stuff you could find on like other video essays on YouTube, I just fucking couldn't. I don't know why. It's strange.
I think at a certain point, a movie's just like, yeah, it's really good. And
Right.
this is just one of those.
Even though there's like more going on in Works Like Perfect Blue, I feel like, I don't know, it's just, like I said, it's good it's very good and well made, but in a very just like obvious, I don't know, it's just very plain. I don't know, there's only so many ways I guess you could like you could wax poetically about something that's simplistically beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just saying, that I also had a hard time, like, I watched it and I was like, oh gosh, what am I gonna say about this movie? But it is good. Like you said, it's just, what can you really say? It's more like, hey, you just gotta watch this. Just watch it and experience for yourself. Like, there's nothing to say about it.
Yeah. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, because when it came out in theaters in dub, I found a friend who never saw it before, and I'm just like, here, come with me, just watch this movie with me.
Speaking of that, I have seen all of Kon's movies in theaters, and guess what day I saw this one in theaters? March 11th, 2020. That's
What?
right.
Wait.
I watched this movie the day of the pandemic's announcement. This was the last movie I saw in theaters before lockdown.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, same for me.
Oh, you two were together seeing this film on that day?
No, but
two separate states.
It came out around. It came out in March 2020, and I took my friend to go and see it, and the lockdown was announced like a week later or something, very, very soon after.
I think my final lockdown film was The Hunt, which The Hunt and Sonic are the more common ones. At least you two can say
Yeah.
you had a cool pre-lockdown film. Most people can't.
Yeah. But the one right before that was David Cronenberg's Rabid, which I watched in a double feature with Sonic.
I do think one thing that is kind of interesting about this film is that because Kon, like very early in his career as a director, was sort of like discovered and popularly distributed in the States. A Millennium Actress, sort of infamously maybe, was distributed in the States by DreamWorks poorly.
Yeah.
Badly.
Was Millennium Actress the one that Justin Sevakis was talking about the like super negative screening of?
I believe that was the one. If you listeners, if you were interested in some insights on Kon, a lot of great material beyond the subject of it, the Webster film series has a lecture by Justin Sevakis of Discotheque and Media OCD talking about Paprika, but he also talks about a film screening, which I believe was it was either Millennium Actress or Tokyo Godfathers, where there was a bunch of issues because of the plating system used for film reels. In Japan versus the States was completely different. So basically there were long stops between reels, because this was in the early aughts when everything was still on 35 millimeter. So, and that was like his first time, and Kon was there at the screening, and it was like a premiere screening, sort of infamously. So he had to deal with that, which sounds awful. My condolences to him, but he has a lot of other great insights, and I recommend, because it's like an hour long talking about Paprika and that sort of thing. The film series puts on great work. We'll put a link in the down there bit for that, because it's worth listening to if you have the opportunity.
I just always think about that, because I recall, like, he had an interview with Kon after that screening, and he was like, so how did you feel about the US release of the movie? And he said something along the lines of, well, I was glad to be here for the screening, but I wish I wasn't here for this screening. And Justin's just like, oh fuck. And then later he was at the premiere to speak with him about Paprika, and he met one of his colleagues, and he was like, yeah, I am here to do this. I was there for the Millennium Actress one, or Tokyo Godfathers, whichever it was. The guy just goes, yeah, don't bring that up.
Oof. Mercy.
Yeah, because it's mentioned, I just think it's kind of interesting to keep in the back of your mind that I feel like on some level, Kon is kind of making these films with an eye towards international distribution, just because that was sort of baked in to his larger filmography. Again, the world premiere of this was at the Big Apple Anime Con in New York. As depicted in the bonus feature. So I think Kon talks about, there was a 7-foot-tall black guy sitting in front of me that kept scratching his head, so I couldn't see the movie, which would have been particularly atypical for Kon. I get why he would kind of want to put a focus on it, because compared to the interviewer rather, he's a pretty tall dude, 5'11", but that's like a little over standard size here, which amusing bit, but also just sort of seeing his films in a larger context. It's interesting because yes, he is still courting a Japanese audience, but a lot of his films kind of take on more international modes of expression, and he takes on a lot of a lot more Western influences, despite this being maybe one of his more Japanese films in a way. I mean, it has Tokyo right in the title.
All right, let's go into final thoughts. We'll start with Angie.
Well, my final thought is that it's a good movie, and I recommend watching it at least once if you haven't seen it.
Hell yeah. Straight into the point. Ethan, final thoughts.
Tokyo Godfathers is a really exceptional sort of film from a director who tragically was not able to make a lot of material to go through. I think it's, in a lot of ways, maybe his most accessible work. Maybe Millennium Actress does a little bit more, but I think despite 2 scenes of bare breasts, this is the one I would maybe feel most comfortable showing a child. I think it's really exceptional. It's got a great balance of warmth and comedy, and just it's such a dense picture from a whole mountain of incredible creative talents on both the on the fronts of score, on writing, the animation artists, background artists, just a lot of great people coming together to make a really exceptional Christmas picture that you could watch all year round.
Hell yeah. Rein, final thoughts.
Even though at time of recording this, Christmas ended a few days ago, it is still recommend seeing it no matter what time of year. Christmas time, Halloween time, pandemic time, anytime. Yeah.
Now's the
Hopefully,
time.
Hopefully not another pandemic time.
Yeah, let's wait another 100 years for that one. Austin, final thoughts.
2023 was a rough year, And if you want to start 2024 off on the right foot, you're going to need the right movie. Don't slip up and accidentally put on Saltburn or Dream Scenario or Poor Things. Put on everybody's favorite found family movie about a lost baby who has people running all over Tokyo in a frenzy. Godzilla -1.
Hell yeah. Alright, my final thoughts. Tokyo Godfathers is a great film. Lots of humor, lots of drama, lots of great character beats. Beautiful animation. Just a lot to love about this one. I definitely recommend checking it out, particularly the dub. Go buy the Blu-ray from G-Kids. It's worth your $20. So this has been the Bomb Squad talking Tokyo Godfathers. Angie, we'd like to thank you for coming on as a guest. Do you want to plug your socials or any projects?
No, I don't got much going on. I do have that one video that I meant to post, but, life happens. I am hoping to eventually get that out. It's supposed to be a video commemorating the 10th anniversary of Free, but at the rate I'm going, it's going to be commemorating the 11th anniversary, so that'll hopefully come out eventually on YouTube. Other than that, I don't do too much. I do some cosplay on Instagram, but I don't post too much on there. But anyone's free to follow me at DASKP01. That's my handle anywhere.
All right. And one last thing, since we are talking about a film about homeless people around wintertime, we wanted to give Austin an opportunity to talk a little bit about his husband's work and how you can help out.
Yeah, particularly right now, there are a lot of homeless people out there who don't magically win the lottery and don't have homes they can go back to. And so my husband runs Lifeline Aid Group, where the money you donate will be directly used to house homeless people. Basically, he's developing a pipeline to, help homeless people, like, get an ID, get the documentation that they need, get a cell phone through a government program kind of thing. He's developed all these kind of tricks to get people back up on their feet, from whatever state that they're in at the moment when they're, probably at their worst, and then find a way to fast track them into an apartment, whether that's like with a housing voucher or through some, cooperation with some other agency. Basically, the goal of Lifeline, or the main goal right now, is just to take these people off the streets and put them somewhere where they have a damn roof. And there's like not a giant structure of people who are vacuuming money up the ladder or anything. Right now, it's kind of just run by a bunch of people who don't take pay from the thing. So every dollar you donate goes to help a homeless person. It's pretty radical, and I've seen the work they do. Sid has housed so many homeless people, and it's great work, and I just hope he gets a grant or something, because he's doing real good work, and I don't think any of us want people to have to be out on the streets. So consider donating. Lifeline has a linked tree. It's run by really solid people, and there's like real life benefits. Like there's the when you invest money, it turns into something kind of beautiful really quickly. And I'm very fucking proud of my husband. So consider donating, because unfortunately a lot of America's problems are fixed with money. I really wish those people at the top weren't vacuuming up all of it. Fuck you, 1%. Donate today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a link in the description, so if you would like to donate, any contribution is appreciated. But that is going to do it for this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're listening on the audio platforms, give us a review or a thumbs up, whatever they let you do on this particular platform that you use. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below. Let us know. What do you think of Tokyo Godfathers? What's your favorite Satoshi Kon movie? Do you prefer sub or dub? Comment below. Let us know. While you're down there, hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. And hit the bell icon to get notifications on when we upload videos. Thank you once again for tuning into this season of Bomb Squad Matinee and this year of our channel. We've had some difficulties this year, but we really appreciate everybody who's stuck it out with us this whole time. Tune in to whatever we got going on next year, but until then, remember, your family are the ones who you love. Celebrate the holidays with them. Farewell.
Big breasts. Cool.
They slid my ticket across the table and I said, "Sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl."